the Hereford game. Obviously a disappointing result, but not one that curtails the hopes for the season.
No, we didn't go into the game with that in our heads, of course. You know, we wanted to get through, and I've been in a final, a trophy final, and they can be great days, but unfortunately we didn't perform on the day, and as I've said before, we were the second best team on the day. So good luck to them, but as you sort of alluded to there, we've now got, as I say, the concentration of the league, and we're still in a decent position with a few games behind. We've got games in hand, and I think we're 5 points off second with 2 or 3 games in hand. 1, 2 and 3, there's all different teams that have played different games, but we're certainly behind in games, and we need a run. If we get a nice little run going, we'll find ourselves in a better position, or a good position. And we're not in a bad one now with games in hand, but you still got to win those games. But we're the boys were disappointed with themselves. Things didn't go for us, with poor old Dwayne only getting signed and then having a minute. But his injury is not too bad, to be fair. We thought it looked a bad one, but it's not as bad as first thought. So he probably won't be that long injured. So he's a bit happier with himself and with the situation. That we worked him all of Friday. We got his bits and pieces from his games previous, and we was totally confident that he could do anything he needed to do. And originally we wasn't going to start him, but he did so well on the Friday that we thought we could start him. Because it's not a fatigue thing if you go down, or if you go down within a minute of the start of the game. So that was didn't help us. Anyway, so we've got a couple of, I'm saying it before everyone else asks me about the injuries. There's a couple of lads that could be back for the weekend. Pretty confident that a couple of them will be back. And the others have started working on the pitch, as it were. A couple of them got involved in a warm-up today. So, I don't want to say give names out or anything, but everyone knows the ones that were closer to others. The ones that are closer are close now, available, a couple of them for selection. And 3 or 4 others have still got a week or 2.
That all sounds very positive, and that must be reassuring and a relief for you, because obviously you've been saying for a number of weeks now that it's not as easy as going out and getting people in, because you've got to bear in mind that actually some of these players that are injured at the moment, you'd love to sign them, and obviously if they're going to be back very soon, that would cause a few problems in itself, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, the players that are injured are the players that you're out there looking for, because they're good players, they're good lads, they're that mid-range age, if you like. People like Jarves and Finn, Crash, Dawson, they're all of a experienced age. Asa, although he's back now, and Laps. So they're the ones you're sort of looking for. So as you say, if you bring in people now, just for the sake of the next month or two, then our squad will be too big, because our squad's not bad now, as they've proved. The ones that have been playing, they've proved that they can have good spells and bad spells. Now we need the good to keep coming out, because then that becomes a strong squad when the other lads suddenly come back. And you can't sign players on just for the sake of it, and we don't go into any game thinking, well, if we lose this, it doesn't matter, because all our big guns are coming back. We start a starting 11 in the hope to win the football match, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and it's been very up and down. But we keep saying now we've got some big games in February, a lot of games in February, and a lot of the games are away. So we need to get the team to compete and to show the quality to win enough games to go where we want to go.
When your big name players, if you like, are out injured, obviously the challenge for those stepping in is to obviously fill that void. Now obviously it'd be very easy for people to say when you go on a bad run, well, they haven't made that spot their own, but a lot of these players are very young and will be better for this experience of having first team action, won't they?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, Ollie Tomlinson, you know, he came in, we thought, well, we'd test him, we'd see how he goes, and he hasn't looked back since. You know, he's become a regular in the team. We want to get a little bit more competition in some areas, but that, you know, that competition will be there when everyone else gets back in. So, and there's 4 or 5 players that haven't particularly been with us very long, and they haven't had all the ups and downs in the experience that some of the others have had, and they're getting it now. And then when we need to call on them again later on in the season, you're definitely going to need everybody fit and raring to go in February with 8 games in 4 weeks or something, 3.5 weeks. So everybody's got to be ready, and they'll all probably get their time out on the pitch.
You mentioned obviously what's going to be a very busy next few weeks. We're having a look at the fixtures. 8 of the next 12 fixtures are going to be away from home.
Yeah.
Cause you any concerns on?
Yeah, because our away form's not as good as our home form, but that's where you need more experience when you go away from home. You need to get a little run together like we did when we went to Slough, St Albans, you know, when we had a little run earlier on in the season. And we've got those teams now at home. So we've got to keep our home form up, even though the last game we was all disappointed that we drew the game that we should have won after coming back. But no, we just got to find an away game, make sure that everybody's ready and understands what we need to do, and then go out and perform it. So, you know, it's something that we've got because we played more home games, and not all our games that were cancelled were away games. So they've all been put in midweek. So it's going to be tough, but we've got to embrace it, and we've got to go for it, and that's what we'll try and do.
You talked about the games in hand. Obviously, the trophy run was great whilst it lasted, but do you think it's given the division from a Torquay United perspective a little bit of a lopsided viewpoint? Like you said, 2 wins, if you win those games in hand, you'll be up.
Yeah, it always looks lopsided, and you don't want to be saying every week, you know, well, we're 8th and we're 3 games in hand, now we're still 8th and 2 games in hand, and all of a sudden you're too far behind. So, you know, there's some important matches coming up now, some important games that you need to pick up the points while you've got those games, because who knows, we might get the bad weather that they're getting up north and all the games were cancelled midweek in our league, so nobody had an extra game or gained ground on us. So, but we'll catch up during this February time, and we'll see where we are at any one point.
Final, Gaffer, you talked about the importance of putting a run together, perhaps starting here at home, and obviously with Dover Athletic bottom of the table coming to play more on Saturday, many people will be seeing this as the ideal opportunity. It doesn't always work like that, though, does it?
No, don't give me any excuse straight away. But you know, I'll never ever say that there's an easy team. I never say that, and people sometimes get the I say there's no mug teams in this league, but there isn't, because you have to look at these. Somebody's got to be at the bottom, somebody's got to be at the top. But whether you're at the bottom or the top, you've still got games that you've won. At the top, you've still got games that you've lost. At the bottom, exactly the same. They've got games that they've won. It's just that consistency. So, on their day, anyone can beat anybody else, as you know. Famous sentence of managers that we spit out every now and again. But it's true. However, we know the importance of winning these games at home, which is why our form has been very good at home, very good. And I did, as I say, some people might not appreciate it, but we certainly got, I think it's double the points to the games, so on average 2 points a game, and we need to get back to that. And we've got to stop saying, me especially, that we've got to go on a little run now, because I've said that for about 4 or 5 games, and we haven't started that run yet. So we've got to work very hard, as the boys are trying to, and we are, to start that run again. That's the big thing. So this gives us an opportunity against Dover, home game, to start a run, and that's what we're always going to be trying to do.